What is freaking out? My name is Eve.
My name is Sarah.
And we are Burnt Out Perfectionist.
So today's episode, we used to drag people for wearing this, and now we may have 2 to 3 pairs of it.
Or 2 to 3 pairs of it.
As like an example of like some things, not to like heavily hint too much, but we've essentially come up with a list to go back and forth of things that we said, oh my God, I'll never use that in my entire life, or I'd rather be caught dead wearing that. And then hence so much more outside of fashion.
But before we get into that, if you don't know, we also owned a small business called Overwhelm the Label. There's lots of fun things coming, so if you follow over there, then you can keep up to date on all the fun things.
And then I've also added to our link tree the Diary of a Burnt Out Perfectionist TikTok that Eve was referencing in one of our episodes. So that is her faceless content, kind of on behalf of the podcast. We also have the blog post that's every Wednesday at noon. And our website for our podcast is burntoutperfectionist.com and .ca.
Woo. Woo. So main discussions, be honest, most of the time it's fashion stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it. I do have a couple of those. I feel like you will remind me further of ones. Be like, remember this.
Usually people don't like Crocs. I feel like I never liked the texture of the pointiness in Crocs.
Okay, so that was kind of the first thing for me. Also, I thought they were straight up fucking hideous. People, anybody who's like old enough to remember the movie, it was called Idiocracy, is like where Crocs were kind of first put in a movie. And the whole purpose of the casting designer and director was to go find something that looked futuristic, but that was like super hideous because it was like a comedy movie. And they took those and everybody just had like fluorescent orange Crocs in it. And that movie is like, if you haven't watched it already, you should just watch it. It is hilarious. It's like one of those post-apocalyptic type things. So it's cheesy, it's campy, it's all of those things. But that's kind of where we first saw them. And then people were always like, they're garden clogs. And like, I felt like it kind of like evolved over time. And then I was like, who the fuck would wear those? And my whole thing is like the pointy thing on the inside. Also, they had holes, and I grew up in an area where it rained all the time. So it just like did not seem logical. And then our sister purchased myself a pair of the Cozy Sam.
I purchased them first.
I know you did.
I was before the trend.
I was like the ones that our sister got me for my birthday. First off, she was like, I cannot believe that you have them on your list. I am buying these. I was like, perfect. And I got them and I literally wore them so much that they stank so bad that my husband threw them in the trash. But I had them for like 2.5, 3 years. And I was like, these are so nice. But I think the reason why I like them is because they don't have the little doodads because it's like fuzzy on the inside. And then now I have the other ones.
You have real Crocs?
I have real Crocs. My mother-in-law got me a pair of the Barbie ones for Christmas. But I have like real ones. And then I don't like my kid like running around wearing them because I don't feel like, even if they are in sport mode, I don't really feel like they're like a logical shoe to do that because you can like biff it and stuff like that in there. But hot damn if they're not a logical shoe to put on after like my kid's done hockey and they've got like hot sweaty feet. And she throws those on and they're all like walking around after to like their feet breathe. Also, it's just like a cushy thing after wearing like a hard structured skate or anything like that. So like I do get it. My kid got her first, like I was always buying like knock Crocs. And then I bought her 2 pairs of new ones for Christmas, like actual Croc brand. And she was so excited. So yeah, that was something I thought I would. I was that bitch who was like, Crocs, they have holes. That's where your dignity leaks out. Like I was a judgy fucking bitch about them. And now I'm like, just eat my words. What about which shoe?
Our mom liked them.
I know, but I think honestly, mom even tiptoed around it because I was such a judgy bitch.
Like I never really had an opinion on them because I have been a slides girl through and through after sports.
Yeah.
Same with Birkenstocks. I feel like my big thing about these brands is because they were so expensive when I was younger. I was like, how I don't want to buy them. Um, but I will spend $4.75 for a pair of fake Crocs.
I will say, like, when it comes to Birkenstocks, my husband has like the flattest feet in the entire world. And those work really well for him, and like you can mold them. I also know like when they were really like they still are expensive, but now they used to be like hundreds of dollars. I know there's probably still some that you can get for that much, but like people get them resold and like they were more of like a repurposed shoe.
Mhm.
And I personally tried a pair. I got a pair one time from they had them in like Costco when they first started getting them. And I walked around. I have an extremely high arch and I have like a narrow foot. And I have never felt more uncomfortable. Like I was like, he's like, well, like, what does it feel like? And I just wore them around like in the house with like socks to see if I like them. It felt like my foot was like, when they show people getting like strapped down on like for like surgery or something, that's what my foot felt like. And like things were like rubbing. So I feel like maybe it was just like I just got the standard ones. They just did like not work for me.
Oh, that reminds me. One of the ones for Sarah was the strapped sandal, like the like outdoor wilderness ones.
Okay, I don't like the ones that have the toe though.
No, I mean like the ones that like they were like start with Chris or something, like the thicker ones where it holds your whole foot. The ones that I say you can only wear because of your
Oh, I have like
ugliness.
those. I don't know if how you say it properly, but they're like tibia sandals.
Yeah, longest time she would complain about how ugly they were, and then I told her she's not allowed to wear slides.
Okay, and there's a specific reason why. Like, I literally was a slides girl for a long time. And the reason why is because, like, if it's hot outside and you get water inside one of them and then you walk on, like, one of those, like, concrete separation.
She wore socks in them and slipped and almost broke her ankle.
Oh, no, that time it was not socks. That time it was water inside my flip flop. And then I was like walking along like a cement, like separation barrier thing, and I fucking bailed so hard right into the front of my friend's vehicle. The vehicle was parked. No, let me be specific. So like I wrecked myself, and that was during COVID, and like my ankle was bad. Like it was really bad. And then there would just be like little things that would happen after that. Like one of the times is I wore floofy socks, as I call them, inside a pair that were inside my house because I was going downstairs to get the trash bag, to take the trash bag. And those were like I'm going out to like take the trash, recycling, or run next door type of thing. And I fucking bissed so hard. It wasn't even funny. And I have a massive scar on one of my knees for that. And when I hurt myself so bad, Eve was like, fucking throw all your shit out.
No, I went to your house after too. Like I'd say I'm not usually one to be like banishing things. There's a few
You
things
love to banish things from me.
because that is the only way you can get Sarah to not buy them again. Is that if I'm like if because she'll call me and be like, "Do you think it's broken?" And like FaceTime me, and I'm like, "It doesn't really look broken. I think this. Can you do this? Can you do this?" No. And after I think about the third time, I was like, "Kate, you're gonna throw out your slides," and she was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." So the next time I went over for a sleepover, I threw them all out. I literally ran to the trash can with them in my hands, going, "No."
Okay, I will say too, for anyone who's like, that's such a waste. They were gross. Like
They were gross.
it was at the point where I really needed to like replace my things. Another thing that was always really bad too is like because of slides, is like my heels just become the Sahara Desert. No matter what I do, like I have the pumice stone in the shower. I've done I think it's glycolic or whatever, like the acid,
Yeah,
one
but
of the
public
facial ones that like people use on their face, which I tried once and that burned me. That was great.
put it on my armpits once.
Oh my, yeah. I did that for a while and it worked fine. And then I had like, I just had acid rejection. Rejection.
Rejection.
My body was like, no. But those things were already at the point, and I needed to replace my sandals in general. And Eva's like, cool, you're gonna wear sneakers, and then we'll go to the mall, and that's like help you find something. Then we ended up finding them on sale too. They ended up being like way cheaper, which was dope.
Which, like, granted, I'd like to preface that I am not like I don't just run around going, I banish. It's usually something like, I have watched you struggle with this for too long and I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Another one's wide leg jeans. I have bigger thighs and I have quite muscular legs. So wide fit jeans just don't fit my body type real. So I just never gravitate towards them.
So I was very much in the whole like flare game and then like the wide, like I wore baggy pants like that when I was younger. And then when skinny jeans came out, I just felt like something was right with them. I felt like, no, because a lot of things were built for shorter girls. And even if they were I used to be like smaller, different structure, body structure when I was younger. But like, I always felt like they just made me like, they didn't work for me. Also, a lot of things were like low waisted and like my belly button is like where most people's ribs are. So like, the proportions were never correct. And then it's like when you look at even stuff that's even considered low rise now, like it is nowhere near what we had as low rise. Like you were almost seeing someone's like gina. Like it was hard. And when I had them and it was like high waisted skinny jeans, I was like, wow, like I feel like I actually have pants that like fit my body and fit my legs and stuff like that. And not just because they were tight, but because like I didn't feel like it looked like I gained like 50 pounds on the bottom. I never thought I would venture from them, but I am right now wearing a pair of these like buffalo rolled cropped, I guess.
They're like 3/4. They're kind of like a jogger jean-esque.
Yeah, and they have like an elastic waist, but they also have a drawstring, which in hindsight I should have just kept the large because I didn't realize that they would bang out, but I did get them in an extra large. And I do like wearing them. They are like comfy, but I do try to like balance proportions because like if I just wear baggy, I look like a cartoon character. Like it just doesn't look right. Staying within the pants realm, I never thought that leggings would be an everyday essential for me.
So I was born where like leggings, like when I became a teenager, it was mainly for like sports and stuff.
Yeah.
So my idea of leggings and tights were always different. I look back at some of the pictures and I'm like, wow, that is a lot of fabric. Like, just the concept of it confused me. I was never like, I'm not a tights person. I never have been. They just they never stay up. That's my issue.
Yeah.
Leggings to me, I was like, oh yeah, this is the homeland. And I remember the first time walking around, you were like, you're not wearing a long shirt to cover your bum. And I'm like, yeah, comfortable.
Okay, so the big thing is like when they first came out, a lot of them are made out of like that cotton material. And if you have like a big butt and you cannot lie, or hips or anything, and you would buy them to like fit and not be baggy, they would be see-through. So that's a majority of the time why we wore longer shirts. It wasn't just because they were in style, it was to like cover your butt. But like, they used to send you home when I was in high school if you wore leggings to school. Because they weren't pants. They were like, oh, you should be wearing those under like a skirt or whatever. And I was like, they're not nylons. Like, they're not dance tights. Like, they're not completely see-through. And they were like, yeah, but that's not like proper attire.
I feel like when I was super young, they were like the cottony ones were okay. There never really was like rules about leggings when I was in school.
Oh yeah. What about? I never thought I said I would never wear mom sneakers unless it was at the gym, or like dad shoes.
What is a dad shoe?
Okay, so like if you envision the shoes the dad used to wear mowing the lawn, that's a dad shoe. So like a super structured athletic sneaker, like those like New Balances that everybody came obsessed with, and they called them like a dad shoe.
Oh, I used to think they were ugly for a while.
There are some of them that are straight up hideous, but also I thought it was like I would always like basically like I was sold on the fact like visually and like growing up that like you always chose cute over comfort. Like I wore ballet flats until they were like you couldn't find them anymore, and my feet smelled like fucking dungeon ass. I know they're coming back, but they actually have more structure and they have like all this other stuff in them. Or it was like, how dare you have time? Oh, no-show socks. I hated no-show socks. They rolled underneath my foot. They drove me crazy, but I would wear them because they would work with like ballet shoes, or they would work with other stuff, and the whole thing was like, it was like controversial for people to like not see your socks. Now I literally wear tube socks that like sometimes go halfway up my freaking calf.
Yeah. I never was a fan of no-show socks. I didn't like them either.
No, because who the hell wants to walk around with your sock half balled underneath the fucking arch of your foot?
Um, the other thing's matching sets, which I've never had an issue with. I have always loved a matching set.
I feel like no matter what, I think I'm the same way. My whole thing was growing up, and they still do it for kids. Like how you can buy a whole fucking matching outfit for
Oh,
kids on a thing. And if I see that at like a Winners, I'm like, is that in my size? I'm gonna fucking try it on. Even if I'm not like 100% sold on it. Because I love the idea of like not thinking and knowing that something goes together.
I do have like ranges though with matching sets, like for comfort and stuff. I love them. I find that the ones that like have the button-up shirts and they're like I had this gingham one and I always thought it was pajamas.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is like there's some of them where like people where they're like, oh, I have this silk set. I'm like, those are grandma jammies. Like our one nana would wear them as like jammies or like um 90s. Some of the dresses that are out now totally look like they were like pajamas.
Switching from fashion to food.
I was like, I have a couple more.
You have a couple more? So
Yep.
sorry. You keep going.
I swore in like 1997 I would never wear a fanny pack again.
So interesting thing. I remember distinctly owning a fanny pack when I was about 8. It was a basic fanny pack, and it was great. I was never the one that liked sequins. I'm very basic, very neutral. I think probably just after, probably like early 2020, Sarah comes to me and goes, I think I'm going to buy a fanny pack. And I was like, okay. I walked up and I was like, I swear I had these. Like, when I used to think fanny pack, it was like the waist, it was neon colors, and it was always like a weird shape.
Yeah.
And it was never like, you could think of like a dad going to like Disneyland.
I was like a dad going to Disneyland. So I like immediately like equated them to like camping, Girl Guides, hiking, stuff like that. So like a lot of the stuff that I did when I was a Girl Guide. And you put like your snack in there, your emergency whistle, like stuff like that. I remember I had this one fanny pack that had the little tiny water bottles on the other side of it. And I was just like, I remember being like horrified, but like it made sense because I don't know what we did, but clearly we were all dehydrated because I've never thought so much about drinking water in my whole life. And my kid does it all the time. But like they would be, it was like always seen as like an inconvenience, but like you had to have it type of thing as like a safety thing. And you'd be like, oh my God, it's so annoying. Like when we used to have like one shoulder backpacks, her messenger bag.
Messenger bag, the dumbest thing on the field.
But that's the whole thing is like, I just love how like you said, the shapes have changed, but like they've even changed the name. They call it a belt bag, but you don't even wear it. Most people don't even wear it as a belt. They wear it as like a crossbody bag.
Most of the ones that I've seen are crossbody. I feel like I wasn't super judgy on that. I upgraded and I was awaiting to be judged because I got this Modetta one from Costco, and it has a cup holder.
Oh,
And it is the best thing ever. And like I know that some people are like, oh, they're not fast. Okay, like I saw this one girl was like, so I'm kind of done with this like the belt bag. Like, what can I upgrade to? And I was like, I'm so sorry. I will never like it.
that's the whole thing is I realized I don't need to have the world with me. So like at one point I was carrying purses that were like the size of a fucking duffel bag. I swear to God.
And they have so many pockets.
There's so many pockets and it would just be like a shitbag mess all the time. Um, Another thing that I never thought I'd ever stray from is I used to always buy like my underwear for the 5 for $25 or the like fancy bras and shit like that. And like that's the way like I'm gonna buy all these things. And oh my fucking God, the amount of things I have swapped out and realized that like you're allowed to be comfortable and even get better results than like the shit that you used to have.
See, I was never one to not wear uncomfortable underwear. I've always been like a granny panty, boxer brief kind of person. And same with like, I feel like even with bras, I've never had the like urge. I owned a real bra for a year and it was terrible. I was like, why? They stabs me all the time.
Well, and that was the whole thing is like I always thought like you had to have underwire. I always thought you had to have all this stuff. And I was like, especially after having a kid and like actually getting boobs, because I did not have boobs before, let's be honest. I was like, I am so uncomfortable. It's like digging in my side. And he was like, then just wear a sports bra. Who cares? And I was like, what? It was like the stop wearing white tank tops under everything, Sarah. You don't need that. And um, just realizing that I didn't have to wake up and put it like an entire full bead of makeup that took me 45 minutes to put on my face every day.
Yeah. A majority of them, I like fanny packs. I've always kind of been like, oh, great, hands free. I can hold a drink. I can hold keys. It's great.
Also, you don't need to take like every single membership card or all these other things with you. You can just have like the very basic essentials and you'll be fine.
I think also that's a huge difference between millennials and Gen Z is I don't sign up for anything.
Yeah.
Like, I remember pulling out Sarah's wallet. If she's like needs a car, I'm like, where? And it's like that like thick zip up. It's got 45 card holders. And it's like, oh, it's the pink one. And I'm like, oh, it's a part of a membership card. I understand now everything's like online and you have an account and you don't need a part.
There's so many things that aren't online and you can't have them in your Apple Wallet and it's so annoying.
And
But they do that on purpose. That way you can lose the stuff and then
pay for a new one.
yeah, and then not even just pay for a new one. Like you have so many things on your pretzel card before you get a free one, you lose that card.
You don't get a free one.
You don't get a free one.
But like a lot of those I never like I have like I have a debit card. I have my ID. I have my Colonel's membership card. And I have like I think I have like my SIM card, my Costco card. Like
My SIM card is in my Apple Wallet. That's the whole thing. Is like some of them are. I wish I could just have all of them, but I feel like there's like so much back and forth, and I'm always the person who like out of nowhere my husband will be like, "Oh, let's go here," and I was like, "Fuck, I don't have that card, and I have it in like this place over here or whatever," and then it's like that paranoia sets in. They're like, "No, I don't want to carry all that shit." Okay, so pivoting from fashion and style, where would you like to go?
pivot.
Pivot.
Food.
Food.
I love food. I growing up, there's only a couple of foods that I didn't like. And Sarah's gonna laugh because I literally had this conversation with your child. We were making a pizza Lunchable, and she likes it in the microwave because she only likes melty cheese. She doesn't like cold cheese. I don't know if Sarah remembers this, but I had the same issue.
Yeah, you did.
I hated cold cheese.
You thought it was weird. You were like worried that it wasn't cooked was a big thing for you.
Also, I think because a lot of people in this family does not know how to cut cheese.
Oh, I was the worst at cutting cheese. Dad would be like, stop cutting the fucking block. And Andrea, we have to buy sliced fucking bread because if we don't buy sliced bread, Sarah is going to fuck off the whole loaf.
For a visual, if you could take inspiration from the Olympics ski racing, that is what the cheese looked like.
It was so bad.
And so I was like, oh, if I would cut it, I'd be like, I just have to like cut it and then I have to cut it down. I never liked cold cheese. I like melted cheese. I like the string. I have melted cheese on anything. I melt it on crackers.
Yeah.
I just didn't like cold cheese. Now I like cold cheese. Now I think because I can cut my own cold cheese. And it's not like, because I used to find if I put it in sandwiches when I was little, the whole thing tasted like cheese.
Because you would even up the cheese. So one side would be like 80% cheese and the other side would be probably a proper ratio.
And it was so annoying.
Yeah.
I think no, it's probably just because I can cut my own cheese.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, my one thing that I thought I would never do is due to something because my body changed, but I literally thought I would live my whole fucking life just chugging a gallon of milk every 2 days and just like eating a shit ton of dairy all the time. I'll do anything. It doesn't matter. I'll eat any type of thing, but as long as I have dairy, I'm fine. My body was like, fuck you.
I love milk.
Oh, it's so bad. Like I look at it when I pour Charlie a glass of milk. I'm like, I want to drink this so bad.
I despise almond milk. I think it's the grossest tasting milk. It's
Hairy milk.
It makes my tongue feel hairy. I just don't really like milk alternatives.
One thing that I would say it's obviously like it's like food related is I thought and put so much pressure on myself for so many years to be that person who like had the traditional breakfast, had the traditional lunch, and then I would try so freaking hard to like, because we had like 6 people in our house, it'd be like, make like a traditional dinner. So a traditional dinner in our sense was like a meat, a starch, and vegetables type of thing. And like that was dinner. And for the longest time, if I had anything that was different than that, I would be like, you're not eating properly. Or like, what are you doing? You don't have your life together. Why aren't you making all these things with all these sides? Why aren't you making this specific way? And I never said I wouldn't make specialized meals for my kid or for other people in the house because like there's different allergies, but also because our brother was born and stuff like that and he has autism, there was very specific things that he would like get into like a routine of wanting. And because basically like I heard like pediatricians and everyone be like, it doesn't matter. Just feed them. That's all you need to do is just feed them. Don't need to deny stuff. You can do your best, give multivitamins, do whatever. But as long as you're like feeding and like feeling your body, it's okay. Like things will regulate, things will change. And I think that I put like I wanted to avoid that like pressure of making sure I have like all those specific things. So like in line, I do make a lot of things that are similar. But I now like, it's not even just like girl dinner. I mean, sometimes it's girl dinner. Sometimes I'll make my husband and my daughter something, macaroni and cheese with whatever, and like cut up veggies. And I'll just have like the cut up veggies and like 3 pepperoni sticks. I'm like, yo, that's not dinner. You need to eat a bit more. But it's okay to not be slaving over a stove making some like crazy dinner every single day.
I was kind of giggle when you say that because, like, for instance, she pulls out this container, warms it up in the pan. There's vegetables, there's meat, there's noodles. It's like this delectable meal. I'm sitting there eating a fried pork gizo.
But that's fine. Like,
I'm like, oh yeah, it's not vegetables somewhere in here.
but that's the whole thing is like there's like I can make tortellini that I bought at the store with canned sauce and I don't have to defrost ground beef because we only get the beef one. All the other ones have cheese in them.
Yeah.
Even if it's like it's chicken with whatever. No, there's fucking cheese in there. So we get the beef one so that way I can have it, my husband can have it, and then there's like the specific sauces that we get. And then you know what I do for him if he's serving or he does for himself? He grabs out the cheese and fucking puts cheese on his. Because everything else is fine for me. Or like when he had garlic bread, he's like, oh, I grabbed one of those garlic breads. It's usually fine. And I looked, I'm like, unfortunately, this one has buttermilk. And he goes, where the fuck does it say that? It's like the third one from the bottom.
No, they changed the recipe on most of them.
Yeah.
Most of mine, like dairy wise, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like, I would find my, like, when I was younger, what was it? Oh, it's left my brain.
Food when you were younger.
And I food when I was younger.
Didn't you like not like to mix things?
No, that was our other.
Oh, that was her. Well, I knew she lived on a separated plate. She loved herself a fucking separated.
I was the mixer.
You were the mixer.
Oh,
Oh my God. You and your like fucking mixing of your ice cream.
Yeah, I used to put cereal in my ice cream, still do. Don't knock it till you try it. I didn't know. So growing up, our dad had a surgery and he ended up getting diabetes afterwards. And so before that, we never had pop. So after, like,
That's so true.
we would have no sugar pop. So for the longest time, I didn't know what full sugar pop did to me. I was like, oh my God, what if it starts to be? And then I was like, wait. And people would always be like, diet pop tastes bad, full sugar pop tastes bad. I'm going to give you guys all a heads up. They all taste different and they all taste fine. But I, for the longest time, didn't know that, like, we only got, like, sugar-free pop.
I didn't, so I had a lot of ear, nose, and throat infections as a kid, so I actually didn't drink a lot of pop, but like when I had pop, it would be for like a birthday, a sleepover, like a special occasion type thing. And I didn't like fathom or ever really like see it as an option to like purchase pop and have it. Also, I drank my first, this is so funny that I remember this, but there was also like crazy other shit going on at the time. That's why the first time I drank a full pop, I was like almost 16 years old. I'd always I'm that annoying half beverage bitch. Like, and I've even put like half an energy drink in the fridge and my husband is like, I knocked over an energy drink. Can you guess whose it is? I'm like 1,000% is mine. Obviously it's not how it's not child's. And I would be like, oh, okay, like I don't really like it. And it's not like I'm an avid pop drinker. I'm still the person who's like, iced tea, lemonade, oh, water type of thing. But I literally will be like sitting there sometimes and I get those mini pops because they work best for everybody in my family. It's not a restriction thing. It's literally because the rest of us will have half beverages in the fridge. And I'm like, you know, I'm gonna have an orange pop today. It's not a Friday, it's a Wednesday, but I don't fucking care. And I'll have it. And it's not that it was a dietary restriction. It's just that, like, it literally like would hurt my soul because of how sick I was as a kid. And I need to realize that like it no longer feels that way. And if I want to have something like that, I can. You know what I mean?
The amount of times I remember you looking at me going, I don't know you how you can drink carbonation. It feels like the burning gates of hell in my throat. And I went, cool, choose your own path.
I would call it fire water.
Oh my God. Or no, spicy water.
Sorry, fire water. Like I had so many things I'd be like, oh my God, I just don't even know how you guys can like drink. Oh, speaking exactly to this. In my life, I've never been a cola, never been a root beer, never been like that girly.
Yeah.
I was always in like the fruit pop realm. And I remember I had a really bad headache and it was after like an accident and stuff like that. And our dad looks at me and passes me a bottle of Coca-Cola and goes, chug this and eat some of these potato chips. And I was like, the fuck are you doing? That makes everybody feel like shit. And he goes, no, 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 no. Look at me. Do this. And I was like, oh, I hate Coca-Cola. It's so gross. And I chugged a bunch of this Coca-Cola and ate these chips. And I was just like, after a while, it like helps. It's like the salty and the caffeine or whatever.
It's the starch, the sugar, and it's the sugar, the salt, and the starch.
Yeah. And I literally got him like, oh. So that's like an emergency drink. Like I don't just like casually drink Coca-Cola or Pepsi. I would still not like it. I still do not like root beer. There's nothing worse than whoever the nasty fuck was that made root beer look so close to iced tea. Because, like, when iced tea comes out of the fountain thing, it's like, it has that, like, foam, right?
Oh my God.
And then root beer kind of has it. And my husband loves bringing up the fact of, like, because he goes, the face, it looks like you're shooting Jägermeister. You're like, oh my God.
I would like to bring up another point about beverages. I would never drink fake iced tea. This real iced tea is way better for you. And then the life tree, the nature tree came out and they have more sugar than brisk.
Yeah, that's very true.
And I was like, I remember not drinking it and she was like, I only like the natural, which like to each their own. I was always like, if I like either, but I prefer this. If I'm going to have a tea bag, I'm just going to drink tea.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And I remember for the longest time, I was like, oh, well, I should drink this one that tastes more like tea because like it's supposed to be like better for you. And then I saw this article and I was like, ha, brisk.
So much fucking more.
I like I've never had an issue. I know a lot of common people are like, when I was younger, I hated Brussels sprouts.
Oh.
I never had an issue. I love a Brussels sprout.
Okay, so I love Brussels sprouts now that I know that the way that they were made was just fucking blasphemy. So
People hate them.
basically everybody who used to make them is now dead. So now I will say my piece and let it go. I love you, Nana, and I loved you so much, Auntie Marilyn, but holy shit. Why was boiling the fuck out of Brussels sprouts, basically making them mushy balls of disgustingness, why was this so much fun? To make me fucking eat some at holidays when you can literally like cut them in half, you clean them properly, which sometimes I feel like with Nana they were not cleaned properly. You clean them properly, you trim them, and you like roast them, and you can put all this other stuff on them. Like they were English, so why was things such a scarce thing? That's probably why. But literally they were like mushy, gross balls. And then I remember one time someone was like, oh yeah, I made these like Brussels sprouts. And I was like, fucking ew. Like, what do you hate me? I'm thinking in my head. And I tried it and I was like, oh my God, these are delicious. Is this the way? So it's like 100%. It's like those people who said they'll never eat a casserole in their life have never had like good casserole.
So we were talking about this before, like I think in the last episode about like recession meals and stuff like that. And I was like, some people are like, oh my God, I would never eat that. I will beg for mushroom soup, pork chops, and rice.
Oh, I miss that so much.
Tuna casserole.
Yeah, I
delight. All of those never had an issue with. I haven't.
what was that quesadilla, chicken quesadilla?
Mexican casserole.
Yeah, and it was like the corn tortillas and you put the oh fuck so good.
Um, my issue, I don't like sushi with fish.
Oh, I don't like sushi at all. I try so hard. It's like every 4 to 5 years I'll try like sushi or anything with like seaweed. So the concept of like I also do not eat raw fish. The texture grosses me out. But and I don't really eat like a lot of fish in general. It'll be more like whitefish or tuna, which my husband thinks is weird because salmon literally makes me like I'm around people cooking salmon, I want to vomit. I gag so hard. I hate it. I think it's disgusting. And like then Cactus Club came out with the rice wrap sushi, like the vegetable one, and it shows up and I'm like looking at it like a scared like I'm trying to debate if this like berry is poisonous or not is like the look on my face. And he's like, there's 100% like no nori in this, right? Like no seaweed. And they're like, yeah. And then I pick it up and eat it. I'm like, oh my fucking God, this is so good. I can eat this all the time. And then there's other ones who do like so there's this soy wrap, there's like tofu wrapped, and all the other things. Soon as you add that seaweed in, I don't fucking care if you say you can't taste it. I can.
I like chicken teriyaki deep fried in tempura batter. That is my extent of sushi. And period.
End. Period. That is it.
We talked about last episode and a little bit prior to this about banishment. One of the things that are banished in this household is, I'm sorry, I'm gonna say the brand name, Cove. I know you're great.
The intention.
I know you're lovely. You taste great.
Oh my gosh.
It is not you. It is them. And so one time we were having a sleepover, the kiddo and with Sarah, and they were like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have a Coke soda." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great." And they're like, "Oh, it's a probiotic soda." I'm like, "Oh, that's good. Good for like stomach stuff like that."
And this is before we got Poppy and stuff like that in Canada. So this was like I even think Co Soda is like a Canadian brand.
It probably
Their stuff is delicious. It is so good, but it's just like dairy.
So it's probiotic soda.
It's like dairy reaction for me.
And so they drank some. But an hour later, I was like, oh, man, the dog is just whipping them. And it progressively got worse. And I turn over and I make eye contact with your child. And I was like, that's not the dog, is it? And she's like, I'm sorry. And it was like, I work in healthcare. I've smelled everything.
Uh-huh.
It was worse.
Well, and the whole thing is I know a lot of people are like, it's like the people who drink Poppy or they try Olipop and they're like, I violently shit forever because, and then a lot of people are like, oh, it's because they don't have a lot of dietary fiber or anything like that in their lives. Oh no, like my kid literally 90% of her diet is the produce aisle. And she will be eating like bread and it's not just like white bread. It's like all these different things. It wasn't that. There's just something in the way that it reacts specifically in our bodies. And it was like embarrassing how bad it was. Like we were so gagged. At one point, I wasn't like holding it in, but like I thought I was gonna explode. And my stomach was making the scariest noises. And Eve's like, I love you and I understand that this is like a healthier thing and stuff like that, like alternative and stuff like that. And you were really excited because it has all these extra things, but like you're not allowed to have these in my house.
Oh my God, that's such a nicer way. I literally said, if this enters my house again, I'm going to drop kick it across the yard and you guys can sleep in a tent. It was like, so as we talked about before, I live in the basement. Sarah will sleep with me if like there's to have a sleepover. Charlie sleeps on the couch in the family room. I was downstairs and I was like, I literally got up in the middle of the night, went upstairs and slept on the couch. Because I was like, this is terrible. The dog was looking at me like, what is going on? Yeah, so that's banished in this household.
We had to open the window and it was -25 outside.
Yep. I said, get a blanket. I was so done. With food, I feel like a lot of people, like, I found out that I'm not a huge fan of sour cream. And I thought the weirdest concept was Greek yogurt because I never liked yogurt. Because I was like, yogurt's gross.
Because it was like leaky. Almost like pudding like for you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that doesn't taste that great. Or it was so sweet that I just didn't like it. I use Greek yogurt instead of sour cream all the time.
I know. I used to do that when I had dairy, and I liked it more.
Because it's like thicker. And I know people are like, it's for the protein. I'm like, no, it
No,
just tastes better to me.
mine was the consistency, and like I felt like the flavor was like half the amount of what fucking sour cream was.
But I never was like, how many times you've had? I know a lot of people are into like protein coffees and stuff like that. I tried to be a part of the like have espresso and have coffee and stuff like that. You know, if the world keeps spinning and I'm not sacrificing my morning coffee, I think I'm just gonna stick with it.
I personally feel like protein coffee is not made for vegan protein powders or coffee alternatives. So like I understand that I have like there's like folks taking like Fairlife and putting it in theirs, or like what's that other one called?
Core protein,
No, the one that's in like the premium.
protein premium,
Yeah. They were putting
premium protein.
there's a consistency that like whey protein comes with that like vegan protein has not matched at this time, and I don't know if they ever will. And I've tried every which way from Sunday, and it's gross. It separates with alternatives, all the other stuff, and it is just not the jam. But I did get one. It was the Vega cappuccino vanilla protein powder, and now it's like you can not find it anywhere, but it had caffeine in it. It tasted as close to a coffee crisp as possible, but not bang on, because I will never be that person who's like, it tastes exactly like it. Lies. Nothing ever tastes as good as dairy. I will be totally honest. But yeah, just like 100%, it doesn't like work for the resources that I have that work for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's a lot of foods that I was just not like. It's not that I never like liked them. I just never tried them,
Yeah.
and that wasn't an issue.
No.
Which one do you want to go to next?
I just have, so I have like a separate list. That's why I had one that was like household and domestic habits.
Okay, there was one that was like protein, that was routine and life hacks.
Okay, so it would be like right around there. I have like that in there, and then I did like my list on the set because I just like thought of every single thing I've ever said, and it did a separate list. So yeah, so like household, domestic, like hobby type things. What are things that you said you would never do that you like do or whatever? Or we can like reword that differently if you want to.
I think like growing up, there was always the notion of like you need to separate your whites, blacks, and colors.
Legit, exactly what I have written down. So I went to the point of being like so neurotic with my laundry. There are some things that are whites, like if my child has any of the blouse shirts for her uniform for school, I'll keep them out, not for the sake of like worrying about them being stained, for the fact that they are fucking stained, and I need to put them on like the bright white cycle with like fucking OxyClean and like shit like that. But I was very much like it got to the point, and I feel like it elevated a lot more during COVID, but it got to the point where I was like hyper separating stuff. So when you have a kid, a common thing that happens is they'll, especially if someone does like any form of like an industrial job, which at the time my husband was a plumber, they say like wash the baby's clothes by themselves. So to me, that was like the gateway of like me fucking up just doing all this shit. Also, 5'2". So I'm not 5'2". Jesus Christ, I shrank.
How tall is your child? Your child's huge.
5'10", and I always worried about like the longevity of my clothes, but also just like the length, to be totally honest. Like when you find that pair of jeans that fits you perfectly, like you're like, I don't want this shit to shrink. It will never go in the dryer and none of this other stuff. Like I was basically like told, I feel like as a millennial, it was like wash your jeans in cold, do this, do this. There was so many more like rules for like upkeep of things. And then that was due to a lot of people having like older appliances. It was due to soap. It was due to like that. So there's been like a lot of advancements, but I never wanted to like take the chance.
Yeah, I rinse everything together now.
Well, and that's the whole thing is like I was talking to my friend Jen, and I was like, oh my God, I have so much laundry to do right now. I have this on, I have this on. And she's like, yo, what? Take a picture of what you have separated in your laundry room. Like legit, it was like blues and blacks, reds and pinks, fucking whites. Then it was like sheets in one, towels in the other one. She's like, Jesus Christ, no wonder it takes you so fucking long to do laundry. And I was like, yeah, because this one goes in this one goes in this one goes in this. This has this temperature, this has this. And she's like, dude, no. I'm like, what? So I remember I was like so frustrated and I got like a cold or whatever. My husband's like, fuck this. I'm going to bang out the laundry. So he goes in and he starts doing it. I'm just watching him just literally grab laundry that's not separated and throw it in the washing machine and put it on like normal or whatever. And I was like, what the fuck? He's like, what? I'm like, you can't do that. It'll get all stained, whatever. And he goes, no, it'll be fine. Okay, there was 1 or 2 items that got fucked up. I'm going to be totally frank. But like, some of it was because like somebody left a pen in their pocket or that item was like new or whatever. Like every once in a while, like I usually, if anything's new, I'll wash it separately the first time. But I was like chronic for like being so overwhelmed and like hyper, like separating my laundry to the point where like I'd have like no clothes and then I would be doing everything on that quick wash and then my LG washing machine sent me a message to advise me that was not the purpose of quick wash. And I sent a screenshot.
It calls you out.
I sent a screenshot. It also calls me out when I forget about the laundry in there, which is like both so convenient and so fucking annoying at the same time. But like I sent a screenshot to Jen and I was like, wow, I didn't realize it. It even gave me stats. It said that like 80% of the laundry I did was on the quick wash and the rest was on normal. And like to properly wash my clothes, I should be using the longer cycles. And I was like, wow. But yeah, that's like one big thing, which I'm not even just like putting that out to like just COVID, but like I just remember our dad like separating clothes into 3 piles when he was teaching me how to do laundry when I was like 7. And then like I don't know why I got to this like advanced neurotic mark of it, but I'm so glad because now I just grab it and throw it in. And guess what? There's like no laundry in my laundry room now.
The other one that I saw was making your bed. So when I was younger, I know people are usually the opposite. I didn't see a point in making your bed.
I still don't.
Okay, so don't knock it until you try it.
Okay.
Because in my brain, I was always like, well, I'm going to get it back into the bed. What is the point?
Yeah.
So I started doing it like probably a year and a half, 2 years ago. People are going to be like, you're an adult, grow up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to reset my bed. So I roll a lot in my sleep, so my sheets will flick off. And I've always been like, oh, it's really annoying when you go to bed and it's not back on.
Yeah.
So what I would always do is when I was getting changed into my pajamas, like, you know, that weird limbo time after dinner, I'd make my bed. And so when I came down, I didn't have to turn the light on to find the sheets. I didn't have to do anything. I just crawled into bed and it was already there.
I think making my husband started doing it, but the thing that annoys me is like I lay my clothes out on the bed and I'm like, you made the bed and my clothes are now in the bed that I was going to wear. But
That just sounds like an issue.
but like I saw it as the same thing, and then I've seen you know, like there's like information and misinformation out there. There's people who are like, oh, you actually have a higher chance of getting bed bugs if you do that. And then other ones who say that you don't. And then I saw like the greatest thing like within like the last like month or two where someone's like, a lot of people who make their bed have a higher chance of having a successful, productive day because they have that one easy thing checked off in their brain. And it's kind of like, look at me, I did a thing. And then you go on. And it works really well for people who have ADHD. So I was like, fuck, maybe I should just start doing it. And it is like when you go into your room, it is cleaner. I did start doing it. I'm a chaotic cleaner. Like I get it done, but like, man, do I make a shit of a mess in between. And I remember someone being like, before you start folding a bunch of laundry or before you start doing whatever, make your bed first so that way you have like a flat surface to do the stuff on and then do it there. And that makes so much sense because I don't know how many times where I'd like do it in my bed would be a fucking disaster. And I'd like find a sock while I was sleeping and I'm like, oh, that's where that was.
Like it's like a little thing that like when I was younger I didn't see a point of, and now I'm like, oh,
Okay, I have the funniest like domestic thing. And this is a public apology to our mother. I have fabric scissors in my house. I have paper scissors and I have kitchen scissors. Like that I am now. Okay, so I've seen TikToks of other folks who have the same kind of thing. So like our mom is like an avid like crafting hobbyist. Like she was always like making stuff. And I was that kid and she was always just very much like, okay, you can go and make stuff and do like whatever you want, like in my crafting room. And it was always like fine. And I would see them as scissors. I would see them as like these things as like a one-use item. And I remember she came downstairs and I was doing, it was like a poster board craft diorama type thing, right? We were always making dioramas in the fucking 90s and early 2000s. And she goes, Sarah, those are my fabric scissors. I was like, Mom, they're just scissors. And it was the same pair, like the black handled metal, silver blades. She'd be like, no, like you don't understand. Like it has to be a certain amount of sharpness to like cut through fabric. And like paper ones, there's also like a separation between the blade that's actually. So like she did explain it to me. Did I listen? No. Did I get lectured a lot? Yes, because it was fucking annoying for her. She had to like sharpen the blades or even like tighten and reset them. And for anybody who's not like in that like sewing crafting world, you're like, that's crazy. No, it's not.
With the kitchen shears, I will probably say multiple times a day, who moves the scissors? Because they stay in the kitchen and there's a little slot in the knife block for the scissors. It is my biggest pet peeve when people walk away with the kitchen. That is my cutting meat packets open.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be doing paper crafts. Those are not what they are for.
And that's the whole thing is like, it's like, it's just like a cycle of things because I went to go cut fabric for something and my scissors were sticky and dull.
See?
And I was like, did anybody happen to use these scissors? Like, or whatever. So then I like explained it when we were doing it again. And I'm like, I cannot get mad because I was that kid. But even like my husband, I was like, okay, but like we need to understand like these are fabric scissors. These are not for opening freezies. And my husband's like, fabric scissors are a real thing. Like he grew up, his mom is also very crafty and did a lot of that stuff too. So like he understands it. And like when you're in it, when you're a kid, you're like, Mom, you're a fucking psycho. You're like thinking in your head. And then when you see the difference, and then when you go to use the thing and you only have enough time to do the thing, and then that happens, you're like, fucking, these are my fabric scissors, damn it.
Same thing with markers for me. I have markers for specific things.
Yeah.
And I don't like it. I have markers that I specifically, when someone asks for markers, that I give them because I'm like, you're going to mess up the tip.
Or when people blend colors, and then why is it always the yellow that gets fucked up?
It's always yellow and green.
It's always yellow and green. One thing that we only had so many devices or vessels at this point when I was a kid. We would have like these traditional little like clear Tupperware with a little lid, and they were supposed to be like the juice box replacements for anyone who didn't want to give their kid like an actual juice box in their lunch kit. So we would have those. We would use them for everything. You would put water in it. You would put juice in it. You put milk in it. And it would be the one container. Okay? I was like, I'm never going to be one of those people who has multiple containers and multiple water bottles. Guilty. I have a cup that is only for water. I have these. The closest I get to mixing is these, those like protein mixer cups. I have one right now. I have water in it, but I started with like a caffeinated Mio in it. And I will mix protein in them, but I have to make sure that it is clean and there is like no crossover or I'm grossed out. I have water cups. I have specific things that I will drink energy drinks and coffee out of. A coffee cup is never to have water in it because it will taste like assholes, in my opinion. I never thought I would be that person, and you can be like, you're a fucking princess. You know what? I am.
I'd like to follow up that I was judged for having multiple cups because you could tell I don't like it when, and your husband's the same. Your husband has the same thing as me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if someone uses a different one of my cups. I'm going to sound really wasteful and dramatic. One day, somebody, not going to be named, left a peppermint tea bag in my mug.
Was it me?
It was you.
Oh.
I'm allergic to peppermint.
Why did I? Oh, I must have been sick.
And you were like, oh, well, I was going to use it later. And I was like, my eye twitched and I threw out the whole mug. Because I was like, you ruined the mug. And I remember Mom was like, you can clean the mug. I'm like, no, because it's going to go, it's ceramic. It's not fully coated. And if it's uncoated, then it's going to stay through. And she's like, what? I only purchase metal inserted things, nothing plastic. I hate plastic. I will only do things that I can clean and I can fully take apart because sometimes people use it and then not clean it out properly, and then I take a sip of something and it tastes like mold. I will wash with the straws, the plastic straws, reusable straws, every year.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Oh no, I do that too, yeah.
Dairy straws and juice straws are separate because dairy will coat anything.
Yes.
I understand people are gonna be like, oh, she's not an OCD. Wait until you separate your cup and then somebody puts something that you don't like in it at any time and you're done. Your water cup has been ruined.
Yes. And that's the funny thing is like I remember being like, "Oh yeah." And I figured it out because I was talking to a mom at basketball and she was just like, "Oh, I'm just like so annoyed with my husband right now. I told him he has to go get me a Yeti." And I was like, "Why? What did he do?" She goes, "Okay, so he was too lazy to go get his cup out of the truck. And he took my water Yeti and put coffee in it. And at the same time, my husband and I go, oh my God, that's the worst." And she's like, "Oh my God, are you guys separate beverage cup people too?" And I was like, yeah, like it makes a huge difference. Like coffee cups do a fucking number. And I'm also like stainless steel or like glass type of thing. I have very rare things with plastic. The protein shaker is like one of them. That's about it. But a majority of the time it's like stainless steel. And it says stainless, but it's not. Like shit gets in there. No matter how hard you clean it, no matter if you clean it all the time. And she was laughing because her husband's not like that at all. Like he'll like drink his coffee and then fill it up with water. And I'm like, ugh.
Like if it's like it hasn't sat at all, kind of.
Oh my God.
There's a very thin timeline where you can get away with it.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one thing. Um, things I know at least in like when I was like a kid and like even up to like before I had a kid, I never thought I'd refer to like after 7 p.m. as too late to do anything. I'm like, oh, what?
You're the most active at 9.
I know, but it's not that like I'm active within my home. I'm active within like a certain space. Every once in a while it'll be like my friend has to go to the grocery store. We have like the 2 girl rule. Like you have to go. Even if you're tired as fuck, I'm putting shoes on to go with one of my best friends to the store because she is a portable pocket person. She is shorter than me and she is easy to grab. And like, if you're a girl listening to this or if you're related to one, you know, like the safety of like shit that happens at grocery stores, no matter where you live. So I'm just like, I will go with her. But like, I'm like, yo, so I remember one time it was like, well, you can go to the grocery store. Like, they're open till 11. I'm like, it's fucking 10 p.m. No, I haven't left my house. I'm in my house.
If I enter the house after work, I'm not leaving.
Unless it's like you're going to go get dinner.
A very slim chance. I will eat dinner at 4.
Right?
There is no like, there's no, oh, we're gonna go on an adventure, we're gonna go somewhere. Like, if I'm driving home,
Yeah.
I am going home. If I'm like, oh, okay, while I'm on the way home, I'll stop and get this, stop that. Totally different. As soon as I enter that home, done.
Another thing that I've completely, well, that I literally thought was illegal, and I know this is like all over the internet, the light on in the car. You know how everyone's like, that was illegal. And it was like somehow some passed down thing. So either it might be a state, it might be somewhere where it actually is. But it was like this like feeling. And I remember our daughter, there's like traffic, and you know when it gets dark at like 4 p.m. And she's like, oh, I got this new book. I really want to read it. And we're like, yeah, you can read it when you get home. And I never think of reading in the car because I was the kid who threw up in the car sick, and so was my husband. So like we would get ill in the car. Apparently that's due to like the grounding not being correct in the cars when we were younger, and now it's different. But freaking she's like, well, I really want to read this book. And I remember being like, oh, just like turn the light on. Why is the light on? And I was like, well, she like wants to read her book. Like, I know it feels weird, but like, just let her read her book. I'm like, is it affecting anything driving wise? And he goes, no, it's not at all. And then I was laughing and I was like, you know what I just thought of? He's like, what? I'm like, people can see in the car now. Like, you know, when you walk, you know, when you're like, oh my God, it's dark outside and our curtains are open, let's close them. Well, what if weirdos look in? But then you go walking through the neighborhood and you're that weirdo looking through the curtain, like it's through the window. Like, it was like, so like, oh my God, like you can see what's actually going on in the car. And he was just like, oh, okay. And like every once in a while he's like, turn that light off like this. And she's like, but I'm reading, Dad. Like I really, and he's like, oh, I'm like, so sorry. And she's like, what, who told you that? I'm like, you know, like everybody always said that. And I think it was because their parents told them that. And I honestly think it was just like one dad was like, fuck you. I don't want that damn light on. I want you guys to fall asleep. Turn the damn light off.
For like, it's like food household-esque issues. I thought it was terrible to put crackers in the fridge. Like if you make your lunch and say you bring like crackers and cheese, I thought if you put crackers in the fridge, it ruined them.
Okay, so this is something that I'm chronically debating about, and it's very, like, very same line. When I was a kid, I could tell when mom and dad had made my lunch the night before or the same day. And so in my brain, I make my kids lunch in the morning, and my friend John's like, bitch, like, make her fucking food the night before and put it in. I'm like, no, like, it tastes different. It does different things. And I find, like, if you cut strawberries, like, they get kind of weird by the next day. And a big thing for me when I was a kid, because, you know, up until I was like 9 years old, you could take peanut butter to school, was the peanut butter tasted different. It did something weird in the sandwich if you made it ahead of time. And our mom did like, she'd make us like, it was almost like Uncrustables. So basically, she took like a pierogi maker and she'd make like a pocket peanut butter sandwich type thing. And I was like, did you make this the night before? She's like, how the fuck did you know? And there was just something about like, even like the jam, like it just did something different. I just smacked Eve's computer. It just like it did something different. And even now I'm like, ew, I wouldn't make that the day before. Or I don't eat like soggy bread, but my husband will eat like pre-made sandwiches until the cows come home. And I think that's so nasty.
Yeah, I don't like mine's just more like it's more crackers. Anything that's like crispy,
Yeah.
I don't want to put in the
To
fridge.
me, they get like soft.
And now I'm like, most of the time I don't really care. I'll make it the day after.
Oh yeah. Another thing that's like household related, and I feel like Eve is gonna laugh really hard is we had a really hard rule about when holiday decorations went up. And I was very much like, I will never have Christmas decorations up. I'll never have them up past New Year's. And I'll never have them up before December 1st. Even December 1st is pushing it because our mom's birthday is at the beginning of December. And it wasn't even just like for that. We had a daycare in our house at one point, and it was like we would do like it was like magic Christmas. Like they would go to bed and then they would wake up on like on Christmas Eve, they go to bed, there'd be nothing, and then they'd wake up on Christmas Day and everything would be there, and then we'd have to take it all the fuck down within like 24 to 48 hours so we could put it all away. So that way it was still like regulated for the daycare. But also like we never put stuff up early. Like we were putting stuff up like the day before Christmas, like my whole life. And my husband's family is like completely obsessed with Christmas. I feel like they've toned it down a bit more. But like it used to be like clock strikes midnight on Halloween and like Christmas decorations were up. And like we fought back and forth about this. I don't mind to a certain extent. And I feel like every year it changes. It's not like we kind of have like a set date. And I don't base it on societal standards or any of this other shit. But like I used to also be like super picky about like what holiday decorations were. Like I wanted like the like pink, purple, blue, like aesthetic Old Navy campaign Candyland type Christmas. And my husband loves the like 70s, 80s, like fucking hardcore, like bright yellow, bright gold, like stuff like that, or like weird creepy Santa. And like we now have like a solid compromise between like stuff that we like. And it is a compromise because like we've kind of like gone through different stuff. Like you merge things together, it looks like a shit of a mess, and then you kind of figure out like what works for you guys. But like I never thought I'd have like traditional Christmas stuff up. I always thought I'd have like the fun, quirky type thing.
Ours was always like, I remember like after dad died, we had it in the family room. And I was always like, do you care if you have it up on your birthday? And mom was like, no, not really. So our kind of compromise is I like Winter Wonderland Christmas. Of course, I love blue. Everything white and blue. And so what we did this year is October 31st, I put on Christmas pajamas. I was handing out Christmas Halloween candy in Christmas pajamas. And I was like, oh, I'm going to put on a Christmas movie. I feel like this year was mainly because people were talking about Halloween in August. And I was like, I'm sorry. I can't get Christmas for more than like 3 days, but you can talk about Halloween for 3 months. No.
Yeah.
So October 31st, I set up the tree. I didn't put any decorations on. I just like to plug it in and look at the tree.
Yeah.
And then it was like November 12th, I was like, Kate, putting up decorations now. Like it was like Winter Wonderland, but then put up Christmas. And then once Christmas is over, then we took away the Christmas portion, and then it was Winter Wonderland. We didn't take down the Christmas tree until like the end of January. And it was great because it was so lovely. It was like the perfect lamp.
Yeah.
I could look at it all day. It was so calming to have everything big lights on. No lamps that I had to figure out the light bulb percentage or what voltage. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood when people were like, "Oh, I decorate for Christmas December like 23rd," and I'm like,
We
"We
only
can't
did it.
appreciate it."
I know we only did it because it had a purpose
That's
for
different
obvious
though.
reasons. Like that's different, but yeah, it's just it's like really funny when you sit back and like reflect on things that you were just like so against.
My big one was I didn't think when I was younger you could watch Christmas movies that wasn't around Christmas. I
Oh,
thought you had to watch it around Christmas. And now it like will be the middle of like spring and I'll be like, I'm gonna watch 8 Crazy Nights.
you know why? Because I feel like it.
Yeah. Mood. Uh the next one's tech and social media. So I remember when do you have more? Just say you have more.
No, I'm just laughing at the subject.
Um I remember when I was younger and Snapchat was a huge thing and Snapchat streaks. I was never a huge fan of it, didn't really see a purpose of it.
Mm.
Now I'm like, now we kind of like the three of us, the three older siblings, all like, we'll send like vlogs to each other and update each other about the day.
Yeah.
But I was never a huge fan of it. TikTok, I never understood because I was like Dub Smash and like Musically
Yeah.
were like the fun things. That was what was that?
I know. And then I was like, but is it Vine? But is it not Vine? Like when it started out, it was like 6 to 10 second videos. Like you couldn't do more than that.
Yeah.
And then it went up to 30. Now there's like a million different options. But like it's not like I was like hardcore against it. I was like, no, like I don't think I need it. And then it was really funny because like as the pandemic progressed, I was like, well, this looks fun. Let's just hop on this. Let's find some entertainment. I've never been one with like Be Real, which I know like a bunch of people do.
What
So
is
it takes
yeah.
a front picture and a picture from your back camera at the same time to like show like what you're doing right now. It's like Be Real. It's candid photos. It was supposed to like encourage like candid photos and stuff like that. Um I'm constantly just trying to get into like digital planning because I feel like lots of people learn it and I feel like it could be a huge benefit for me. But then also there's a lot of times where I just want to put pen to paper to like make my life easier. And I don't sometimes I want all the noise and all the organizations and all the automations and sometimes I just don't want any of it.
Um I've always been extra with my note taking and everything. So like I was not surprised when I haven't I need to set up a Notion for myself now. I used it a lot in college and then I was like, oh, I just work. I don't need a Notion.
I remember I used to completely pass judgment on people who would be like, "Oh, I have my husband's location. I'll just check where he is." And or they would be like, I always know where he is. Like, and I would always see it as like, oh, wow, like, do you not trust that person or anything like that? I love my husband. Updating and getting lost in his job is kind of like a regular thing. Like, when you're doing paperwork or whatever. And it is actually super handy to be like, okay, like, I'm about to go drop a deuce or take the dog outside before I leave. Like, where is he? Is he close to picking me up? Or does he look like he's picking our daughter at first? Or does it look like he did a bunch of computer work? He zoned in and has no fucking idea what time it is. And then I call him like, hey, so like it's 4. And, oh my God, is it? Okay, cool. I'm leaving our house now. And but like it comes in handy and it's less of like tracking and trust. Like I know where Eve is. She knows where I am. Our mom flat out refuses. She states that she is a big girl and nobody needs to know where she is.
I had it on hers for a long time and then she realized. Yeah. Um yeah, tracking apps I never was like a huge judgment on. I never was one to go anywhere. So like if you tracked me, it would be like, oh, she's still home.
I know. The funny thing is I never thought of like after it kind of like normalized in my brain, like sharing it with family. I never thought of like sharing it with friends. And the funny thing is like I have it shared with my friend who actually lives next door to me, and this is literally the conversation I have all the time. Hey, so what you doing? It's her calling me, and I'm like, nothing much, just usual shit. She's like, you grocery shopping right now? I'm like, yeah, I'm at Walmart. She's like, yeah, so I went to go make dinner and I realized I'm out of cheese. Can you grab me some? Yeah, sure. What kind do you want? Okay, perfect. I'm at this store, and then I'm gonna go to this one after. Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Actually, like, we really like this one. If it's there, that's awesome. If not, can you do this? Yeah, 100%. I'll grab it for you. Okay, cool. But it's so funny because, like, I've done it to her too, and our significant others had no fucking idea that we shared locations. And, like, how the fuck do you always know that the other one is the grocery store? And I was like, oh, we share locations. And they're like, what? Because it was, like, funny. Like, I would walk and be in Walmart for 2 to 3 minutes, and I get up, so what you do? And I'm like, you fucking know what I'm doing.
You know where I am.
Now it's just like a funny thing where it's like she went out grocery shopping, forgot 2 things, and it was like, hey, so remember I said I got everything and I was really excited. I actually missed 3 things. Do you mind grabbing them? And I'm like, yeah, sure.
Voice memos we've always kind of not had an issue with.
No.
I can't really speak to like parenting tech, as it didn't really bug me. Shared calendars. I will go to the grave. Google calendars.
Yes.
Best thing on the face of the planet. What will I subsidize with? If you add something to the Google calendar, you still got a message. No. Follow the story. People grow, taste buds change, and Crocs to slap. Let us know down below kind of what you used to judge when you were younger, what you like now, what you don't like now. Always open. We always answer all of our things. So,
Yeah.
on that note, stay warped and twisted as ever. Peace.
Through the ups and downs, we'll be here to guide. Come back next week, we'll be right by your side. Burnt out perfectionist, we've got so much to say. Real, raw, and ready to talk today. We'll be back next Monday with more in store. Catch you then, we're always here for more.